When I first pledged Star Citizen in Q1 of 2022, there was a lovely little holiday season sale and I picked up the Avenger Titan game package for a nice price. The ship in the picture looked cool. It was more expensive than the other pack, which was the Aurora, so I assumed it was the better of the two. I hadn't researched either ship nor the game a great deal, but rather had watched 30 minutes of a friend's stream as he played the infamous Star Citizen. People in my chat had always suggested I play, and I was in. With the sparse amount of knowledge I now had, I was in. So I bought the pack, played with friends, and by myself when they all needed a break. And all I remember is hating the Titan. I upgraded shortly after to an Arrow, and then again to a Nomad. And ever since then, all I've ever heard about the Titan was how good it was. Citizens, my name's Beard of Oz, and today I go back to the ship I first pledged, the vessel that launched me into this world I adore so much, and see if the Titan really is a pile of junk, or if I was horribly, horribly wrong. Let's dive in. From Aegis Dynamics, the Avenger Titan is a bit of an all-rounder crammed into a small ship at a reasonable price. The proverbial jack of all trades, this light freight vessel will allow a new citizen to dip their toes in the verse and try their hand at just about any game loop that doesn't require a specific mechanical modification, that is to say mining and the soon-to-be implemented salvage hull stripping. And while it does pose this benefit, it must be noted that there is a ceiling for most of these activities. But by the time that it really starts to be an issue, you'd likely be working towards being able to afford something a little more specialized. So let's get the specs out of the way. Like so many other ships in its size class, the Avenger Titan comes equipped with one small power plant, two small coolers, two small shield generators, and a single small quantum drive. And while this may not be much to write home about, one of its distinguishing and favoured features is its interior. With a bunk set in its own small space behind the cockpit, the Titan allows the weary traveller to bedlog in the black for when an all-night gaming session makes the thought of landing at a station unbearable. Not only this, but further back into the ship's interior, the Titan has a rather impressive cargo hold. Well, impressive for a small ship at least, allowing up to 8 SCU of cargo or a bunch of courier delivery packages, scavenge crates, bodies, what have you. And to top it all off, a rear ramp for those cargo-related times, as well as the traditional small fighter-style cockpit entrance with ladder. Nifty, huh? When it comes to firepower, the Avenger Titan is punching slightly above average with two size 3 hardpoints, each located on the underside of its wings, and a single size 4 hardpoint on the underside of the nose. Out of the store, it will come with gimbaled size 2 repeaters for the wing hardpoints and a gimbaled size 3 ballistic gatling for the nose. Oh, hey! Didn't see you there. You also waiting to find out why Beard hates the Titan so much? Yeah, me too. Hey, while you and I are both here, if you like the content, maybe hit the old like button. Hey, if you like this stuff, like really like it, hit the subscribe button too. I'm sure he'll appreciate it. You know, I heard that he also streams on Twitch. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he leaves the link down there as well. Oh. It's starting again. But what's all this going to cost me? Well, I'm glad you asked. If you haven't pledged the game yet, an Avenger Titan starter pack will sit in the ballpark of $75 US, cheaper if you pick it up during a promotional event like I did. The ship by itself in the pledge store sits around the $65 mark, again, before any sort of promotional pricing. But within the game itself, the Titan can currently be purchased at New Deal in Lawville, capital of Hurston, for a tidy sum of 785,600 Alpha UEC. If you're on the fence and not sure if the ship is worth your hard-earned space bucks, you can rent it and take it for a spin from Vantage Rentals, conveniently located in your spaceports for a measly 15,000 credits. That's an introductory bunker mission. Keep us chips, mate. The downside with the rental, however, is that you cannot change out any of its weapons or components, but at least you can try before you buy. Speaking of components, if you're looking to spec the Titan out, then Cousin Crows is my vendor of choice. While it's true that the flight in and out of Atmo is akin to pulling teeth, I prefer it to bounce in between several locations just for internal components. They have the tippy-top military specs in size 1 all at your fingertips, not including the Atlas drive, which is going to be the most fuel efficient with decent spool time. That one you'll find at HURL 5. If you're looking to kit out the Titan with laser repeaters or cannons, Center Mass in Area 18 or New Babbage will be the ticket. Otherwise, Urkel will have all the weapons and locations nicely laid out for your preferred customization. I'll put a link in the description below. So, after all this time, how does it feel to fly the Titan again? At first I found it cumbersome and lackluster, especially with the gimbaled laser cannons, so instead of calling it a day, I changed that up. Of late, I've been flying the Buccaneer for low to medium level combat. Check out the video on that here if you haven't already. And on that ship, I'd been running a full gamut of fixed repeaters. So against the overwhelming voices in the comments section of that video, I ditched the gimbals to size up to fixed repeaters of the hardpoint sizing, and I will say, whether it be the increase of damage or the fact that it's become what I'm used to, I found combat less tiresome. Unless I was in Atmo, then it was like trying to close an umbrella in a windstorm. But this wasn't a dedicated combat vessel like the Buccaneer, and it obviously didn't have the sheer power of the Drake thruster, so perhaps I was judging too harshly. So I did some box missions, and I will say, I was touched with nostalgia for my first days in the game. So what was it that made me dislike the Titan so much all those months ago? Well, 3 reasons that I can come up with. First of all, when I owned the Titan, I was so fresh to the game that I was under the impression that every time your ship was destroyed, any component upgrades that you had purchased would be lost also, and claiming a ship would bring back a stock standard ship. I mean, it even kind of implies that in the ASOP terminal, so I never took the time to upgrade the ship and see its potential in that regard. Secondly, aesthetics. Don't get me wrong, the outside of the ship looks cool, with a very space shuttle design. Even the cargo bay and bunk don't look all that bad. It was the dash. I know it's a bit silly, but it seemed a bit too antiquated for my liking, and this coming from a Drake fanboy. Not only that, but in third person, the back end of the ship hangs down in such a way that I always got the impression that the front gear was never touching the ground, which it usually was. And speaking of gears, I'm not a fan of wheels on spaceships. Never have been, never will be. And finally, to round off reasons that I hated the Titan. Exploding. When I was fresh to the game, ships with ramps had a tendency to explode when you walked down them, and that could really kill the mood on space exploration. By this point, I'd bought the Arrow in game, it never exploded when I exited the cockpit, so I upgraded my package to an Arrow, which I soon regretted, but that's a story for another day. So, with all that in mind, do I still hate the Titan? No, I don't. I certainly don't love it, but I can see its merits now for what they are without a severe distaste clouding that observation. So, if you're about to pledge for the first time, and a retro-looking ship that can do a little bit of most things in the verse appeals to you, I suppose the Titan isn't the worst choice. In fact, it's a bit of alright. And there you have it, a trip down memory lane and a chance of redemption for the ship that launched me into the verse. If you've enjoyed the video, consider hitting that like button, and if you'd like to see more content like this, subscribe to the channel. Stay safe in the verse, citizens, and I'll see you all next time.